a new edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckmann. With me, as always, the Danaconda, Daniel Brian Saber Cessnit III. Daniel, how are you doing?
Yes, hey. That's a very long nickname. I like it. It's a lot of the greatest technical wrestlers on the planet right now, so I'll take it. Whew, man, did we have a weekend?
Oh my God. So yeah, me and Dan, if you guys follow us on social media, hope you fucking do if you're listening.
Yeah, you would think.
Right, we went to AEW Revolution at the historic Greensboro Coliseum, and it was definitely a wrestling show that I feel like I've seen so many like high tier wrestling shows, especially from the 2019 WrestleMania weekend, that it's hard for me to really decide if like that show is the best show I've ever been to. But it's certainly like it sets itself apart for, you know, the historic aspects of it. We got to see the debut of Will Ospreay, obviously, which was a really big deal. We saw two of really our like sentimental favorite wrestlers go at it and just put on an all-time classic, that being Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. And it just on so many levels. And I got to visit my boy, the Danaconda, and I'm very gracious that his family let a scoundrel like me into his house.
Oh man, they loved you. Scarlett was a big fan, and she does not take to tall gentlemen well. It was a pleasure having you in the house, my friend. I can't wait to do it again. Yeah, this was the best show I've ever been to. And you know, I thought TakeOver was great when we went and saw it. I thought Mania was great when we went and saw it. I don't get to go to all that many pay-per-views, but I would say that this is a rival for best show I've ever been to. Because you could have had two matches on this card, and I would have went home satisfied, feeling as though I got my money's worth. Right? I could have gotten my money's worth with Ospreay, Takeshita, and Danielson and Kingston by themselves. Right?
Sure.
And then we got all that other stuff to go.
Let's be honest, the show wouldn't be the show without the Sting retirement. So, like, you know, like it was just there are just so many like high quality matches on this show. Like those three just stand above the rest, though.
It was hard to. It was hard to walk away from anything at any point in the show. And believe me when I tell you that the empanadas that I bought at the arena didn't sit with me well, and it was hard to not go to the bathroom. But boy, howdy, was every single match, even the scramble, which I think we all kind of went into thinking was fun.
Like, man. You know, a match like that with a lot of guys doing high spots is a good palate cleanser sometimes after, you know, other matches that you've seen.
After anything.
It was after Danielson and Kingston.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought that match was fun enough. I think we all kind of knew who was going to win. I think that when I think about that match, just seeing him live in person, and it doesn't get talked about enough, the fact that Lance Archer can just go up there and reinvent the old school that Undertaker used to do and execute it with a moonsault for somebody his size is just so incredible to see live.
I've seen enough. Lance Archer is better than the Undertaker.
I mean, bro, like
in the ring, he might be
far just because like there's so much depth to the Undertaker and who he is. Yeah. I think that's a bit of a hot take, Dan.
It's a wicked hot take, and I think that sort of stemmed from the discourse of Sting versus Undertaker. You know, whose retirement sort of was more graceful, and I think that we can both agree that stings at this point after having
absolutely. And I think that Sting's retirement here is just like they made the choice of putting Darby and Sting together against the hottest heels in the company, and like they weren't even the hottest heels in the company when it was initially announced. They used the last like month and a half of TV time just showing off just what cunts these guys are.
That is the absolute word for it. And
yeah.
So like
You want to see them get their asses kicked so bad.
And there's no subtlety to it either, which is
Mhm.
amazing. Like, because everybody's like, well, we want character work and we want, this, that, and the other thing, and we want stories, but like at the end of the day, there's no subtlety. They are literally just being everything that they were told they are.
Yeah.
And they're mocking Tony Khan's announcements. Like, this is really good shit.
I think so too. And I love mocking the announcements, man, on Dynamite when they made an announcement that the announcement will be later in the show.
Even the facial expressions, like if you look at Matthew and Nicholas, like they're like buggy eyed, just like, sorry, Tony, but like that's the way you look when you make these announcements, and it's
Absolutely.
just really funny.
For sure, man. It's really good shit, and
we got to see them lose, right? So like that was the thing that was really awesome to me, because I think that nobody really knew what the outcome was going to be in the building, right? Like we all kind of thought that Sting and Darby were going to win, but the history of wrestling indicates that you go out on your back more often than not, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that we both got caught up in the moment when Sting and Darby won. Big ol' hug, everybody high-fiving, because it was just done so well. It was everything that you could hope for from a retirement. Like, if I ever get the opportunity to retire, I figure I'll probably die working. But if I ever get the opportunity to retire, I hope that I can go out half as gracefully as Sting has. And I say gracefully, very lightly, because he threw himself through glass and jumped through tables and just did Sting Darby shit. But it was just, I don't think I could have asked for anything better.
Yeah.
From the experience, I don't think there was a single person that A, stunk, or B, just wasn't a pleasure to be around in the arena, right? Mm-hmm. Like, 100%. We got the pleasure to sit next to a gentleman that was really Brandon, I believe his name was.
Yeah, his name was Brandon. He was definitely a wealth of wrestling knowledge, and
he knew what he liked.
Being around him, absolutely, and he was a really, really nice and respectful kid, and shout out to Brandon. I know we gave him the sticker.
Yeah, so if Brandon's listening, big shout out to you, homie. We enjoyed sitting with you, and the gentlemen that we met and hung out with in the parking lot were really all very cool.
Absolutely, these three guys that we met. I want to say one of them's named Bill and the other one was named Win. And I'm sorry, guys, if you guys are listening too. Don't remember the third guy's name, but they were all hell of a great dudes.
I will tell you, I was high out of my mind. I had smoked a joint. I will be completely honest with you. I don't remember their names. I will remember they gave me fruit snacks. And they gave other people fruit snacks.
They were slanging Scooby-Doo fruit snacks.
But the really cool part about these guys were they had trained at Flatbacks Academy with Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze, which so they got to tell us some pretty cool stories without, obviously getting too far into the details. But it was pretty neat, the groups of people that you meet, being around like-minded individuals is just really fun. Like, I love my family and whatnot, but like it was like literally living in our group chat, and that is just the epitome of fun to me at this point. So
for sure, man. And just going back to what you were saying too about nobody stunk. Like, seriously, there was deodorant in the air. I could smell it.
Yeah, I think a lot of wrestling fans have finally almost gotten to the point where they've been shamed enough and they try to wear deodorant in public, 100%. But there's still a few that don't. And sometimes when they raise their arms up to get excited, you can smell it. But generally, it was a very pleasant atmosphere, very cordial and very not smelly.
For sure, man. Great experience overall at the Greensboro Coliseum. It's just kind of weird. Like, I thought going into it, it would just come off as more like older,
old school.
Yeah, but it was very modernized. at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean it's an ACC tournament venue, so they did have to modernize it. I was thinking the same thing because I'd watched the Greensboro match that Sting and Ric Flair did prior to going to the show, and I saw that old smoky arena, and I was like, man, that would be awesome if that's what we got. But I knew part of me was like, that is just wishful thinking because obviously we're not gonna, it's
Right.
2024. That was, almost 40 years ago. So
Plus, people may have been legitimately smoking in the arena.
100%. They were.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Ric Flair wasn't smoking in the ring, to be completely honest with you.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, great experience there. Just to talk about some of the other matches that we saw, OC and Roderick Strong. I really enjoyed the work. Don't get me wrong, and I know I've said on the show before that I wasn't really a fan of Roderick Strong being the choice here, but you cannot honestly say that they didn't tell a story in the last few weeks leading up to this match and going into this match, in that Orange Cassidy has just been beat up week after week after week. They had the tape on his back. Obviously, he's going against Roderick Strong, the Messiah, the backbreaker. He's going to focus on that. So it's almost like, of course, Roddy's going to win.
Here's I know that the gentlemen in the group chat are going to want to hear this, and I'm not going to say bash AEW, but I will say this was a very weak finish of the match. Even though Roddy should have won, and I thought he should have won, to dump OC that unceremoniously and just have him roll out of the ring and walk away after holding that title very proudly for so long, I didn't think that was such a great look. They came back and redeemed it a little bit on Dynamite, and we could talk about that. But I just thought a lot of the matches on this card, while were great, all ended very abruptly. And I thought that this was the shining example of that.
Yeah, that's a good point, man, especially considering, typically whenever you see Orange Cassidy get beat, it does take multiple finishers to beat him.
Yeah.
Again, though, it goes back to the story. His back is very much weakened. And he gets that move. And conceivably, it makes sense that he would lose that quickly. Even though, like, it wouldn't be to our preference and to the booking of Orange Cassidy that we're used to.
And it's not even the move that put him away that's bothering me so bad. It's like, yeah, you give Roddy his moment to win the title, but like, to me, the whole thing has been like a group beatdown of OC that caught up with him, but I feel like it should have ended with some form of an angle.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's my beef with it, is I wish it ended with an angle rather than him just sort of dipping out and calling it a day.
Sure.
That was my beef with it. It was an unceremonious end for a really good title reign, a good second title reign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, though. Man. Overall, I thought it was good, despite, like you said, it was a quick finish, but if you think about logic, it makes sense. So
whatever. It's a hot dog match.
I can move on with my life, but you put that as a hot dog match, all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, honestly, outside of the scramble, every match on this card was a hot dog match for me.
Yeah,
a good match.
Okay, yeah, sure. I would say hot dog and a handshake for me was definitely Eddie Kingston versus Danielson, as well as probably the three
hot dog minimum. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't go through and rank every single one, but I would say outside of the scramble, hot dog minimum, with hot dog and a handshake for Sting and Darby's match because of the historical significance. Hot dog and a handshake for Eddie versus Danielson because it was great, and hot dog and a handshake for Takeshita versus Ospreay.
And did you say the main event?
And the Sting match. Yeah,
the Sting match for sure.
So to me, those are three incredibly great matches for very different reasons, and deserve to be seen. And I would say overall, the show itself was a hot dog and a handshake.
Absolutely, man. This was an incredible show. I mean, certainly is the best show AEW has done in 2024. We'll say
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I thought that Eddie versus Danielson was just such a good culmination of a very personal feud. And Eddie just came prepared, gave everything to Danielson, and I think that they told that story in the match. Um,
Did you watch
I
the
think
little
towards the end,
vignette clip
Danielson
after?
started to not doubt him anymore.
Did you watch the clip of them in the trainer's room together?
I did not, but I did hear about it that they basically just squashed their beef, right?
It was good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It
I'll
was
have to
really
check that
good.
out, but
It's
obviously
it's
here,
it's literally a minute. If you scroll past it on Twitter, you might see it. It's not anything that's significant, but it's a nice little. It was like maybe 3 minutes, and Danielson's like, Eddie walks out, and Danielson just basically says his piece, like, "Man, I should have noticed this shit a long time ago." It was well done. It was a good culmination to a feud.
yeah, man. I mean, these are two pros right here. I'd expect
Mm-hmm.
nothing less of them. But yeah, that was a hot dog and a handshake for sure. Just kind of going through the card here. What did you think of BCC? Oh, first of all, we didn't mention this with the OC match. We got the return of Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh
Um,
shit, yeah.
this happening as well as his follow-up promo on Dynamite. I'm interested. I want to see what we can get
Babyface
out of
Kyle.
this babyface Kyle O'Reilly. Obviously, it's an amazing story. You want to root for somebody that has overcome that much
Absolutely.
since his injury, and he's taken a second chance. I think they're going to tell the story of he's not going to join the Undisputed Kingdom because it just seems more like a rerun of everything that he's already done, and he needs something new since he is renewed and he's been given a second chance as a wrestler. So I'm rooting for Kyle, and I hope that they do something great with him. And hopefully, if you remember in NXT, they tried to make him Orange Cassidy pretty much.
It did not work there.
It did not work. Obviously, you can't do Orange Cassidy here with Orange Cassidy already in the company. So thank God that's not going to happen. So I'm interested to see what they do with Kyle overall.
I want a babyface Kyle. I love a babyface Kyle. I don't think I want to see him involved with Undisputed Kingdom in any way. Like, I kind of just want to see him go off and do his own thing, and I don't really know what that entails. Is it something where you?
I think this is the first stop on a long singles run for him. He's just going to do something with Undisputed Kingdom, against them, because it makes sense.
I wish Ring of Honor was rolling, man, because having Kyle O'Reilly in Ring of Honor as an anchor would be really good.
Oh, yeah. That's.
But I wouldn't want to bury him there. You know what I mean? That's what it would be right now, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Because I was just thinking right off the rip, having him as a contender against Fletcher for the TV title, like right off the rip, just makes sense to me, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. At least as far as the TV title and Kyle Fletcher is concerned, I'm hoping that situation, Kyle Fletcher being the champion, is more of a sign of they're going to go in a younger direction with guys that are going to win the TV title, more of like an up and coming division, like they're going to do with the women's TV title too.
Have you been following the women's TV title tournament?
I've like read results and stuff. I haven't actually been watching it. Is Aminata like far?
I haven't seen anything.
Oh, okay. I know Aminata beat. The only thing I know is Aminata beat Taya, and that's big.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Let me look it up while we're chatting here, because I am interested, but it's, I don't know, man. It's one of those things that I'm having a hard time because Ring of Honor TV is just not great, right? It's just not something that is fun.
I guess the only thing that's going on there that's entertaining is all the stuff that's happening between Dalton Castle and Johnny TV.
Yeah. Okay, so right now, the next round that are happening is Diamante versus Billy Starks, Mercedes Martinez versus Abaddon. Wow, Red Velvet beat Layla Hirsch and Queen Aminata beat Taya. So it's those two against the winners of those two prior matches. Huh. I don't know who's. I think Billy Starks is ultimately going to win the TV championship.
It would make sense.
Yeah,
she's still
I hope she
affiliated
does.
with Athena, so
Hope she does.
as far as I know. And God, I mean, are we can't go another year with Athena as ROH Women's Champion, right? She needs to get in the picture somehow, some way. Could you imagine Athena coming into the AEW Women's division, and just like spoiling Mercedes Moné's debut?
Be interesting, but man, that division is fucking stacked because
I know.
we just said four names that don't even get on AEW TV regularly that are awesome. Taya, Aminata, Billy Starks, and Athena. All of those would be beneficial in the AEW women's division. They can't even get off of Ring of Honor.
For sure. And Athena being like the main event level star right now. Like all those other girls that you mentioned have potential. Taya's kind of slipped a little bit. She was kind of at that level, but she's more of like on the mid card for women. But
she came out looking bad in that Jade feud, to be honest with you.
Sure.
So
just go. Sorry about the ROH sidebar, guys. We
this is a wrestling show. We can talk about Ring
as the biggest fucking AEW nerds for doing that. But fuck it anyway. BCC versus FTR. I thought it was a great match. I was really into it. I felt like, those are the type of guys where they really evoke a lot of emotion and they show their emotion and their wrestling, and that's the story that they end up telling in the ring for the most part. But I felt like the wrong guys won. It being in Greensboro, I felt like it should have been FTR getting the win over Mox and Claudio.
I didn't. This wasn't a match that I think needed to be on the card. I definitely didn't need to be one of the longer matches on the card. Mm-hmm. As much as I enjoyed it in the moment, because they emote, they wrestle, they tell a story in the ring. It also wasn't the hottest of angles, so maybe it wasn't one of the ones that needed the most time.
Yeah. They like made it a very intense feud very quickly.
2 weeks.
I know, and like it just seemed like a blood feud out of nowhere.
You don't get a blood feud after 2 weeks. I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody cuts you off. All right. So AEW World Championship match, Women's World Championship, Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo. Bro, this was a lot of fun. I thought that Mariah May coming out in Tony's old gear was just a really great swerve.
You weren't even in didn't you go to the bathroom at that point? Did you see that
live?
Did,
but I heard her music and I was just like, oh shit, old school Tony's back.
Yeah, I was. It fooled me, man. I was like, what? She acted? Because obviously we weren't close enough to see that it was Mariah at the time, and I wasn't smart enough to put two and two together. But it was still pretty awesome to see.
For sure, man. But I thought overall this was a really good match, and it ended as I expected with Mariah May having the interference there, and Tony getting the win with the Storm Zero. Mm-hmm. You know what? If they want to go ahead and just do like a little long-term feud with Deonna and Mariah May, I think that works.
Yeah. I don't see why not. I mean, you don't put her back in the title picture immediately because she lost it, but and
Tony's going to be moving on, no doubt about it. But yeah, I'd say that. I'd say if it was maybe given more time, it would get like a hot dog from me. You think it would? You think it's a hot dog match?
No, I'll rescind. I don't.
It just really wasn't given. It wasn't given the time.
There's something that
I
didn't
feel.
click with it all the way. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy it, because I did. But it was. I think I take away that hot dog because it wasn't actually Tony isn't black and white in real life, and that's bullshit.
Yeah, man. Shit. That's just such a big part of her presentation that we were deprived of because we were live there seeing it.
Yeah, fucking
So,
depressing.
oh, first world problems. All right, we got Takeshita against Osprey, bro. Hot dog and a handshake, and probably a few handshakes. This is an early match of the year candidate, in my opinion. Just work rate wise, it was absolutely fucking bonkers. And
Yeah.
every time Takeshita puts on a match like this, I'm just like, Tony, you have 2 primetime shows every single week. You need to make room for Takeshita on one of them every week because the guy is a fucking gem.
I think he gets enough TV time. I don't think he's getting underutilized.
He doesn't consistently get a match on either Collision or Dynamite.
That's fair.
You throw him on Rampage a lot, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, this was great. At the end, Kyle Fletcher came out, so we're gonna see Kyle Fletcher versus Osprey on Dynamite, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
And where do you think this is gonna go ultimately? Because like it just seems like they haven't quite told the story of like there being tension yet. Because that's where
I mean, ultimately, Osprey's a huge fucking baby face right now, so I don't see how they keep him in the family.
No.
I think that there's little subtle things that are being shown, but not quite yet.
Yeah. No doubt about it, man. Yeah, I thought that this was just to see a match like this live. It's you don't know it until you see it live. Just how hard these guys fucking work. To hit all these spots and just go a mile
at the speed that they go at.
Yeah,
right? Like, it's crazy, and I kind of compare it to like football, right? When you watch football, it doesn't really like register how fast it is when you watch it on screen until you get up close, right? And see how fast they are, or baseball players, or how fast they throw a pitch, or any of those things. Just like any other sport, you don't realize the velocity and the force and the power that they actually use, these guys and girls. It's crazy. It's crazy. And to do it so meticulously without hurting somebody else, like football players, like at the end of the day, you want to say they're not there to hurt somebody, but they're there to knock somebody hard. Wrestlers are the exact opposite. They're there to do.
They're there to take care of their opponent. Yeah.
So it's it's bonkers, man.
Yeah. This was just go out of your way to see it. And again, go out of your way to see Danielson versus Kingston. But world title match, Joe defending against Adam Page and Swerve. Fans were I'd say the crowd, even you think in the South maybe it'd be a little bit different, but no. The crowd, I would say, was like, would you say 80% Swerve?
75 to 80. Yeah, I think that's
80. I would say.
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Yeah, there were very faint, like "Let's go, Hangman" chants that were happening. But yeah, this was just a lot of fun. To me, at least, I felt like it solidified a double turn, especially with Hangman just beating the shit out of the referees.
It was wild.
Like I know. So like, there's no way this guy isn't a heel at this point, right? Like, just after doing something like that.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty solidified heel turn, and especially if after what we saw on Dynamite is the case, like,
I think he's gonna go with them dudes.
The Elite are heels now, right?
Yeah.
So why not? You know, why not have him be that miserable fuck of a baby face or heel? Yeah, I think it works, man. I think it's a wrinkle to the character of Hangman that we've never seen, and I'm intrigued to watch it play out because, man, like there was a point in AEW where there was not a single human being that could get a bigger pop than Hangman.
Yeah,
and there wasn't, including CM Punk, like, you know what I mean? Like,
he was really was like the voice of like the young generation. At least that was the perception
so
organic.
Of him. So organically over as the anxious millennial cowboy that like, but I'm excited.
But you know what? It just goes back to the old like, you know, narrative of a very like fucked up moment can change a man, and what Swerve did has just set Hangman over the edge. His personality has changed. You know, he's going to do everything that he can to prevent Hangman from winning the title. I heard an interesting theory too. I don't know how true this is, but like there's a theory that like Hangman tapped out in this match because he would rather not win the world title than risk Swerve winning the world title.
I read that theory too. I don't think it's out of left field. I mean, we do love to fantasy write our stories, but I would love to hear his explanation to it before just kind of assuming. But yeah, it makes sense, right? I can't, if I can't have it, you definitely can't have it, right? So that makes sense.
Yeah, but overall, man, you know, I know that when the show started, it was like, oh, Renee has announced that the title match is the main event, and like I feel like that was just kind of, obviously it was a red herring or so. I don't know why they even said that.
I think it's just the natural inclination to call a world title match a main event.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is.
She just slipped there. Because honestly, when I saw that this was not the main event, and again, we assumed that Sting was going to be the main event until Renee said what she said. I kind of knew that Swerve wasn't really going to get his moment yet.
It'll come. And I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come at the next pay-per-view that they announced, the AEW Dynasty, which I believe is on the 21st of April in St. Louis.
Injected into my veins, bro.
Which is a bummer because if it was a couple days earlier, I would definitely go to a pay-per-view on my birthday.
What is the date of it?
April 21st. It's a Sunday.
April 21st. Okay.
I believe that's the week before John's wedding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out John. Sorry, John. We're going to AEW Dynasty instead of your wedding. Have fun. No.
You know what? If anyone would forgive that, it's John. I'm not even lying.
Especially if he knew that we would get to see Swerve win the title. I think he might forgive it. But
yeah, he'd be like, yeah, fuck my wedding. Go and see that. All right. Anyway, fucking main event, bro. This was unbelievable. First of all, I remember commenting to you about the Young Bucks entrance attire, and I was just like, look at these fucking robes that these guys are wearing.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, bro, it's like, whoa, we should.
I saw them, and I was like, those are weak ass Flair robes.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we wouldn't say that if Okada is wearing it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'd be like, oh, that's a dope robe. It just doesn't really fit with the aesthetic of the Bucks, but I guess it fits with their current aesthetic of
yes,
of being very like thinking they're regal and everything.
Well, I mean, their new theme is just such a thumper because it's just basically the Succession theme.
I didn't think of that, man. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this match was just fucking wild to see live, man.
It was exactly what everybody expected it to be. And yes, I was 100% convinced that Darby died.
I wasn't 100% convinced. But
when
I did not like that he did that in the moment. It was just like, it's not, at least like, listen, days later, now where I sit now and I live and I breathe, I look back at that moment and I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I was fucking there for that. That's crazy. But like in the moment, I was like, don't fucking do this, Darby.
I was like, do it. Fuck it. Just do it. Like, you're gonna do it. Why does what my opinion?
He literally got on the mic after that and he said, I said I'd fucking kill myself in your last match, Stinger.
I tried. Like, but
Yeah.
for real, man, it was just when he hit the ground, his leg twitched, and I was like, he's dead.
Yeah, it was like a dog that got run over.
It literally, like, I was mortified for a second until I saw him actually move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's wild, and he's climbing Everest.
And I still thought it was awesome. So
I did too. I mean, like, yeah. What can you say? See it for yourself if you haven't yet. But yeah, this was very cool, especially with the young Borden children coming out and emulating their dad. One of them was like Great American Bash Sting, Surfer Sting, and then the other one was Wolfpack Sting. And it was dope, and they tried really hard. I loved the effort that they put into their stinger splashes, bro.
Wolfpack Sting tried to jump from like 3/4 away across the ring.
Yeah, he got some distance though.
He got some, but there was a few of them where I was like, "Yo, he ain't making it. That's too far."
Honestly, man, I want fucking the brute Borden brother to become a wrestler more than the other one.
Either one of them, man. Those are big boys. Athletic too.
Yeah.
Athletic too. I don't think they want to, and that's great, man. Like, I think that's so cool that they got to live out that moment with their dad, even though they're not wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. And it was totally appropriate too. It totally made sense with the story why they would be involving themselves into it.
Why they'd be involving themselves. And it was a moment where they got to bust out old gear of Stings. Like, they could have just run in, but no, they made it something special. They could have done a run in the middle of the match and hit a Jackson with a chair and called it a day. You know what I mean? But they didn't. They went all out. And again, it's just a testament to how much TK loves wrestling and how much he wanted to make this night special.
Absolutely. I'll give TK his flowers for one night. He just never needs to get on the microphone ever again. Because seeing that live is just like, bro.
It's a little painful. And I've seen it a handful of times, you know.
The way he just yells.
Yeah. I've been to a few Dynamites. I've been to to Collision, and he does it every time. He's just so excited. And you know, like, I love that for him, man, because he is passionate. Like, say what you want. He's passionate about it.
Yeah, he is passionate, and he can still be that way while also recognizing that he needs to delegate some of his powers to other people.
I'm just talking about generally when he makes announcements and things like that. Like, I'm not saying, like, he definitely needs to delegate his power. I get all that. I'm just saying, like, some of the stupid faces and his excitability is always often shit on, but to me, it's just it's an autistic kid that loves wrestling. Like, that's what it is. And I'm not saying that to be mean.
I mean,
I'm not. I
know.
I think everybody is on the spectrum.
You're not wrong, sir. You're not wrong.
In some shape, form, or fashion, I think he is on the spectrum, and that's okay. Like, who gives a shit?
Too. But
I think that's why a lot of his exuberance is not always taken the right way. Because I think people expect him to be normal and buttoned up because he's a billionaire. Nah, man, dude's a fan, and he might be a little autistic too, and that's cool. That's cool. He's like me.
I think you should go out and say it. I think people would like him a lot more. Don't you agree?
I think it might be that his
he actually was like he should say that. So like, I feel like people would cut him a lot more slack.
I agree, and again, I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything that somebody that has looked at him and heard him talk hasn't thought. You know, it tracks. But you know, I love the man. I love his passion. Yes, he needs to give up some of his duties, and but for one night in Greensboro, man, we had a blast, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that man. So let's just put it that way.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, overall, great way for this show to end. Thank God we got out in time and
Jesus, yeah.
we're able to get home. And
we only had to walk 3/4 away around the arena outside, but we made it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there were some wannabe wrestlers that had a.
Oh, I got flexed on.
Yeah, Dan got flexed on, and then Dan just unloaded all of his laundry on this one man.
Oh, I raged on him. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely have some road rage issues, but it was the empanadas talking, man. It was the empanadas talking. It wasn't me. That guy started with me, and I had a belly full of shitty empanadas, and I had an hour and a half ride in front of me. I didn't want any of his garbage.
The empanada defense, classic.
It is the guy.
Yeah.
It works.
I hear you. All right, so fuck yeah, that was just an amazing experience. Just seeing that show overall and hanging with my
broski.
Absolutely. But fuck, bro, did we not have a very
Killer
sick Dynamite?
Killer follow-up.
Killer. Absolutely. So let's just kind of go down the card. I'll go through this real quick. All right. First of all, in-ring segment with Swerve and Samoa Joe, and you know how they're who's going to face him for the championship, and then it is actually Wardlow because he won the match. He won the scramble match. Dan, you're coming in real fuzzy, my guy.
I am.
I don't know if your internet connection is lagging a bit. It certainly looks like it is, but I digress. I will move on. So this leads to a tag team match with the Kingdom, Bennett and Taven against Samoa Joe and Swerve. Good little TV match, and really have much to say about the match overall.
I will say one thing about the segment prior. Swerve sells getting like choked out better than anybody because he always just lays there face down like you would if you got choked out. Like he doesn't like pop back up or anything. His selling of a coquina clutch is top notch.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Swerve is crushing it right now. I think that he is well on his way to being the top baby face. I think it's really between him and Ospreay. If I had to choose two guys, but yeah, I'm glad that overall, and I don't know if it happened during this segment, but Wardlow is going to be getting his title match against Joe like within the next couple of weeks. So I'm glad that they're getting that out of the way. So
it's big business.
Get his title, yeah, a big business, and that's fine. Whatever. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Joe choked out Swerve there. And then next we had FTW Championship. We had
I liked this match. I liked this match. And I'm not even saying that for the sake of John. Like I thought this was a really good match. I think that they have really good chemistry as a a David and Goliath matchup.
100%, man. And these are two guys that worked closely with each other for a while when Hook was first starting to break into the wrestling business. So I think that they kind of have a natural chemistry with each other. I was expecting this to be a pretty solid match. Definitely was expecting Hook to get the win here. And I think that Cage really does prove his worth whenever he gets the TV time. And I feel like he doesn't get enough credit.
I swear to God, if Jericho has to form a tag team with Hook now, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. I'm going to lose my shit. Go away.
Jera Hook.
Go away, Jericho. Go away, dude.
I know, man. It sucks.
Why does he have to glom on to everyone?
Why did he just has to latch on to some new feud? And it's just like, can he just go away for a bit?
Forever. for all I care at this point. Like, because
know.
every time I see him on my TV, I want to see him less and less. Like, I want him to retire permanently.
Yeah.
Do it with some grace, you fuck.
Anyway, I forgot to mention before that match too. That's when Matt and Nick did the swerve of the announcement and said the announcement
of the announcement
going to be later. Yeah. So next we it looks like OC and Trent are going to be teaming up with each other. Do you think that's going to be leading to the eventual turn of Trent on OC?
Yes, but like I wish it wouldn't. Like if they were going to do it, they should have done it at Revolution. But
yeah,
maybe a slow burn it. Maybe it works out. I don't know. I don't know who all is in that tag tournament. I think we're going to find out, and I think that it depends on their draw what I think will happen with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're going to be entering the tournament, and OC and Trent, I could see them going far in it, just based on their own individual accomplishments.
I would love to see them as champs, as tag champs, but I would rather see a more proper tag team.
I would too.
But he is technically a best friend, and if they did ultimately win, well then maybe you have a Freebird type rule.
For sure. Next, you had Killswitch against Daddy Magic. I loved the fire from Daddy Magic coming out as, he had his ribs taped up, fiery baby face coming in, just giving it to Killswitch. A lot of people were chanting for Daddy Magic. I like him in this scenario here. I think that him and Garcia together is really good. What happened is what you would expect to happen. Killswitch eventually got the better of him and beat him, but this led to Garcia coming out for the save on Daddy Magic because the patriarchy was taking them out, and then they take out Daniel Garcia, and then eventually Copeland comes back and just takes out all of them and challenges Christian to an I Quit match, and that's going to happen at the next
week.
Next pay-per-view, right?
No, next week on the 13th. Yep.
Do you think that's going to be the title change?
Probably.
Hope so too.
I hope so too. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't see why not. I think that Christian needs to get away from that title now and let Edge take it, and then ultimately drop it to a young guy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean that division needs a makeover for sure.
I mean, Christian's done a great job with that title.
Oh yeah, I know he has, but like, it's never been like when I think of the TNT title, I do think of it as like a TV title. I think of it.
It is
like the international title has become more of the TV title because it gets defended far more often. But like, I just want to see the TNT title back to what it was really when like Cody had it.
Yep. That was the epitome of that TV title. It was the open challenges. It was the weekly shots at it, whether it was an open challenge or him challenging somebody. It has to somehow it's got to be brought back,
For sure. And then next we have the segment we had mentioned before, Kyle O'Reilly coming back, just saying that he's going to have this second chance and he's going to do things on his own. And we'll see what that leads to in the coming weeks. But I'm very excited to see Kyle O'Reilly back. I can't wait for him. His actual debut match back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next we had the Bucks are in the ring. The announcement has finally come. EVPs are making their big announcement. And first order of business is that Kenny Omega was fired from the Elite. That was a bit of them saying that and them mentioning him because God knows how long Kenny has been out. Was a bit confusing to me, but it all came around in the end because like just for the reason of like I was like, what? Why are they even mentioning Kenny? Because he's not going to be on TV soon. But like they're leaving so many good things on the table for when he comes back. you know. Um, and then Hangman Page was going to be getting a suspension. And then let's see. So Eddie Kingston, I don't quite understand why Eddie Kingston confronted the Bucks. Do you know why, Dan?
Yes, because Eddie had confronted, or they confronted Eddie backstage either last week or the week prior,
Okay.
and said something about fining him and him dressing in sweatpants and Timbs and this, that, and the other thing. And so Eddie came out to address that. And
Yeah.
then we had the coin drop of all coin drops. The Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, comes out dressed in a full suit, which should have immediately been a giveaway, right?
Yeah,
like, immediately.
Coin drop and jaw drop, bro.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here?
And you want your jaw to drop a little bit more?
I thought that him wearing the suit was kind of a choice, but my heart was telling me like, oh yeah, he's coming out to help Eddie Kingston, because of course you're gonna want to think that way. And that was like my wishful thinking, is like, oh, he's gonna team with Eddie Kingston, but nope. Just set up Eddie for the Rainmaker, hits the Rainmaker.
Okada, I will say that was
yeah.
That Rainmaker was a little sloppy. I gotta say it.
The setup, I would say the setup for it was a little sloppy. The execution,
but it all made
was
fine.
But yes, bro, Okada is the newest member of the Elite. I did not see this coming.
Nobody did.
When you look back at Nick and Matt Jackson's attire from Revolution, it all makes sense. They were clearly wearing Okada robes.
Very clearly.
And Okada is gonna be set up to have a feud with Kenny Omega once Kenny comes back.
Brother, I think we're gonna get Eddie versus Okada at Dynasty.
I think we are too, and I think that Okada is going to take the Continental crown.
Yeah, me too. And I'm okay with it.
Like, for sure. I'm okay with it too. Because if you're going to have a triple crown in America, why not take a guy who, while he hasn't won a triple crown in Japan, that's really just because he was too good for All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes, he was.
For him to win the first triple crown in America, the second guy to hold it, but still, like, that's huge springboard moment for success for him. And not only
also
that,
immediately gives that title credibility.
Yes,
more so
absolutely.
Than Eddie. Like, don't get me wrong, it's different, but it's a different kind of credibility, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and Okada is, he's a once in a generation talent. And for people to really believe that, I think it's a better move to bring him in as a heel, so he can kind of be hated at first. But once people see his performances, they are going to love him, rather than bring him in as a babyface and just anoint him as like greatest wrestler of all time, while there's these people that are in the audience. Because let's admit it, like AEW, there are a lot of people in the AEW audience that watch New Japan Pro Wrestling that are familiar with Okada's work. But there is some people that watch AEW that are not quite as familiar and are not as easy to latch on to this guy who's a once in a generation talent. And I think that was kind of the feeling that a lot of people had with Jay White coming in. Even though Jay White he's been a good heel, I think he's kind of in this purgatory weird stage right now that they're going to figure out how to get out of with everything that happened with him and Darby later in the show. But I digress. Okada coming in as a heel here, I think, just opens so much opportunity for what he can do. And he is with the most despicable pieces of shit in the company. So it's great. It's money making.
I wish I'm just a little disappointed it didn't happen at Revolution, but hey, what are you gonna do? Can't win them all.
We would have been overly spoiled at that point. Like, a lot of really great stuff.
I deserve it. You deserve it. We
I
deserve
deserve
it.
it too. Yep. Yeah.
But no, seriously, it was a
But
great debut.
this
All things
is
considered.
this is incredible, and we're gonna get Okada versus Eddie Kingston. It's off to the races with Okada. I mean, I just can't believe we're gonna get heel Okada here, and I'm very excited about that because when Okada kind of became like the look that you see today, Chaos, which today is known as like a prominent babyface group in New Japan Pro Wrestling, that's not how they debuted. They were like disruptors. They were heels.
Yeah.
And Okada was like the leader of that group. So like it's and he hasn't been a heel since that time period. So I think that was the right way to reintroduce him in New Japan at that point. And this is the right way to introduce him to American audiences in a similar kind of way.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. All right, next
Did you hear what he's getting paid?
No, what is he getting paid?
$4.5 million a year.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
3 years.
I love it. I love it.
That's
man.
big time money.
He deserves it.
That's almost what Roman Reigns makes now.
Wow, really? I'm not a big numbers guy in wrestling, so
I saw the discourse about it today. After Tokyo Sports had released what Okada was making, with his contract or something to that effect, and I think that Roman Reigns makes like between 5 and 7.
Damn.
Damn.
It's in the ballpark.
Damn,
for sure.
Damn, indeed.
All right, we had Chris Datch versus Riho. I mean, I didn't really care that much about the match, other than the fact that this is just furthering the storyline of Stokely trying to make both Willow and Statlander be heels, essentially. Yeah. Trying to give her the chain to use, and it looked like Statlander thought about it for a little bit, but then she thought otherwise. Yep.
For a second.
But Riho got the roll-up win here, and we'll see. We'll see how this all develops.
Could get her turning heel.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know, man. I can't see Willow turning heel. I can see Chris turning heel over Willow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But those two feuding, I'd be okay with too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then, Willow basically backstage just told Stokely not to pull that shit on her.
I love Willow so much.
She's Darby Allin is interviewed and saying that he's going to climb Everest and blah 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 blah. And Jay White comes out, and I just hope this brings Jay White back to relevancy come next week with big business.
The problem is if Darby's leaving, like this is going to be a 3-week feud.
I mean, maybe it'll just be a good way to write Darby off TV for a bit.
If Jay turns totally heel, and just beats the. But bro, if him jumping off the top of a 35-foot ladder through a pane of glass couldn't get him to be written off TV, what is? Like,
I don't
Darby's
know.
got to write himself off TV.
I think that they could buy themselves an authentic Darby dummy. And, Jay White can get behind the wheel of a switchblade car and run him over.
I did it for the Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they can do something like that. Darby needs... I mean, he already announced that he's climbing Everest, so who the fuck knows?
I don't think
anyway, House of Black promo, strong words for Mark Briscoe, and then Mark Briscoe rebuttal. I loved the Mark Briscoe more than the House of Black. Even though I love House of Black, I just love the fire in Mark Briscoe. And worst thing about this is that Jeff Jarrett is interjecting himself in this feud.
I think Jay Lethal made a really good point when he said that if you're going to go into a street fight, who better than having the low down dirty Jeff Jarrett on your side? So yes and no.
Yeah. I don't want to see Jeff Jarrett go over any of those dudes, though.
That's fair.
All right, and then finally, main event, Ospreay versus Fletcher. This was incredible. and was just kind of a smaller version of what we saw on
TV
Saturday.
match, probably one of the TV matches of the year so far.
For sure. It was excellent. But I think really the star of this segment is what we were left with right at the end of the show. Danielson coming out and coming face to face with Ospreay.
Oh,
so that's.
I thought you were talking about my massive fucking boner that I had at the end of the show, like strong like bull to see Danielson and fucking Ospreay in the same ring together.
I'm sorry, listeners, for having your ears go through what you just went through.
You listened to this show before. You know what it is.
Yeah,
Don't
know.
Pretend. But all seriousness, man.
It's a lot of boners.
That shit is gonna feed families.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Fucking Danielson and Ospreay shit. I mean, why not? This is Danielson's last year. He needs to face everybody.
Yeah.
Simple
this
simple
is a
as
match that. It has to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 100%. Maybe that's what's going to happen at Dynasty. Maybe that's their match for Dynasty.
And maybe this episode. Oh, go ahead.
Last night's episode of Dynamite really felt like a reset, big time. I don't know if
really
you felt
did.
the same way as I did.
It really did, and it's just the problem with AEW has never been like how they do reset, because like when they want to make a statement of like new feuds, they can put on a really good show. The problem has always been the follow through. And we just need to see in the coming weeks that they're really developing these storylines and feuds. And it's great base right now with the Dynamite that they just put out. So just capitalize on everything that you put down on this Dynamite, and we're going to have a really fucking good Dynasty pay-per-view.
I think so. I would stand by that as well.
No doubt, man. But shit, fuck, we talked a lot today, man, but we had a lot to talk about. I mean, this was such a big weekend for us, and one of the best Dynamites of the year.
Without a doubt, one of the best Dynamites of the year. Without a doubt, one of the best pay-per-views of the year. I think they put it all together, and you couldn't be more correct. And let's see what next week brings. I think next week is going to be big time too. And I think we'll be back come Tuesday for our next show, right?
Yeah, I think we can do next Tuesday for sure.
Yeah, I think we'll pop in and see if anything's happening.
In the spirit of the Young Bucks and how I feel about them, I will see you next Tuesday, sir.
Got him.
Yes.
And I don't know. We got anything else for him today?
Well, you know what? As you guys all know, we are going to be sponsoring the next Wrestlers Lab show, Oh My Glob. A lot of us are wondering what's going to happen with this title situation, because Eel O'Neill really weaseled his way out of the last match with Trevor Ion. I'm saying it right now, and I don't care if there's any repercussions or I'm going to get a stern talking to by the current Wrestlers Lab champion. But Trevor Ion can potentially get his rematch against Eel O'Neill as long he goes through an opponent of Eel O'Neill's choosing, and it's going to be a stipulation of Eel O'Neill's choosing. And then if he ends up winning that match presented by Eel O'Neill, Trevor Ion will go on to face Eel O'Neill for the Wrestlers Lab title. Again, stipulation, the choice of Eel O'Neill.
Man, Eel really
doesn't seem fair. Doesn't seem fair. We're gonna have to see how this all plays out.
It doesn't seem fair. Apparently, he's going to announce all that, or did announce that recently tonight. So we're gonna have to. We'll let the crowd know what the deal is with some more matches. I'm sure they'll announce some more stuff this coming weekend. Really excited as always to be involved with the lab for sure. I want to say one thing. New Japan all the way in the mud right now. Jack Perry is in House of Torture. Ishii lost to Chase Owens in the first round. And they lost Okada to AEW. I think New Japan is really going to struggle for a while.
I did not know that Chase Owens beat Ishii, and that fucking sucks. Big time. But it looks like I lost Dan for a second. I don't really know why. Hopefully he does come back. His internet may have gone out. So I am going. Oh, we do have Dan back. Dan, we lost you for a little bit.
I'm here. I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Right. I vamped. It's all good.
Good. I appreciate that.
As always, guys.
I guess.
Oh, go ahead.
No, after you.
Dan. Follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Go check out our What a Maneuver store. We're going to be getting some new designs very soon. And as always, just check out our QR code right there.
Cheese bags.
Keep watching wrestling. Is it going to end?